If I had known that morning was going to be the last perfect day of my life, I probably would have made better coffee. Instead, I stood in the kitchen half awake, scooping pre-ground beans into a machine I hated and pretending it didn't taste like betrayal. My wife, Elise, danced into the room with her usual hurricane energy, barefoot, messy bun, humming something upbeat as she fumbled through drawers like happiness was magnetic and she couldn't help sticking to it. "You're up early," I said, sipping my burnt coffee. "I've got that leadership seminar today, remember? Downtown Hilton. Starts at 9. Right." I remembered now. She had been talking about it for weeks, motivational nonsense, trust falls, those awkward icebreaker games where people tell you their spirit animal. Elise's, by the way, was a fox. I used to think that was cute. Now I just remember how confidently she said it, like she was trying to convince herself she was still clever and wild, not just 37 with a LinkedIn addiction. She kissed me on the cheek, grabbed her protein bar, and vanished out the door with the energy of someone chasing a dream, or maybe outrunning a truth. I stood in the kitchen a little longer than I needed to. Something in me paused. The house was still. Not just quiet still. Like the walls were holding their breath. I shook it off. We were fine, weren't we? Later that morning, I went into work. Regular day, spreadsheets, meetings, a soggy tuna sandwich. My coworkers droned on about a client merge, and I tried to focus, but something buzzed at the back of my skull. A loose wire, a flicker of static. I blamed stress. Marriage stress, life stress. Elise and I had hit a lull lately, nothing dramatic, just more silence than usual between us. We called it being comfortable, but the truth is, we were orbiting each other like distant planets pretending gravity still held. Still, I told myself we were okay. Elise was beautiful, driven, ambitious. I loved her. At least, I thought I did. That night, I cooked her favorite, seared salmon with lemon couscous, and even lit a candle for no reason other than I missed how her face looked in warm light. She came home 3 hours later than she said she would. Blamed traffic. Said the seminar ran long. Hugged me from behind and asked what smelled so good. I didn't say anything. Just smiled and passed her a plate. She didn't eat much. "Stomach's off," she said. By the time we went to bed, she was already asleep, face turned away from me, arm curled around a pillow like it was more trustworthy than I'd ever be. And yet I still didn't know. I had no idea what was coming, but I would. And when I did, I wouldn't cry. I'd burn it all down with a smile. The next morning, Elise was gone before sunrise. She left a note on the fridge. "Morning run. Don't forget your dry cleaning. Love you." Nice. Efficient. Loving, even if you squinted hard enough. I stood in front of the fridge, rereading the note like it was a clue in a mystery novel. Something about the handwriting, it looked a little rushed. The way the L, in love, looped tighter than usual. I knew Elise's handwriting better than I knew my own. She used to leave notes all the time back when "I love you" was a sentence, not a signature. That day at work, I kept catching myself checking my phone. No real reason. Just a strange itch, like I was waiting for something to happen. Like I was a character in someone else's story and the narrator was clearing his throat. The something came later that evening. We were watching a movie on the couch, some forgettable thriller she picked, and I reached for her hand like I used to. She flinched. Not a big flinch, barely noticeable. But I felt it. The tiniest hesitation, like her hand had to remember who I was. "You okay?" I asked. She smiled too quickly. "Yeah, why?" I paused. "You just seemed distant." She laughed, short and sharp. "Distant? I live with you, Logan. How much closer do you want me to be?" Oof. Not defensive at all. I let it go. Didn't press. Didn't fight. Didn't even sigh. That's the thing about suspicion. It doesn't explode. It simmers. It waits. It gathers receipts while you sleep. And that night, while Elise showered, I opened her laptop. It wasn't locked. It never was. That was her brand. Trust me, I have nothing to hide. Only this time, something was off. Her Gmail was logged out. Slack, too. A tab with best CrossFit classes downtown sat open. Elise hated CrossFit. Always said it was just shouting and kettlebells. Why the sudden change of heart? She came out of the bathroom a few minutes later, towel on her head, humming softly like she hadn't just deleted a dozen browser tabs. "You look tired," she said. "Rough day." "Not bad," I said. "Same old." "You." She shrugged. "Seminar follow-ups. Mentally draining, but worth it." She kissed me on the forehead like I was a child and climbed into bed. Fell asleep almost instantly. I lay there, staring at the ceiling, my thoughts louder than the silence. I wasn't paranoid. I was just awake. And soon, I'd find out exactly why. It happened on a Thursday. Funny how betrayal never picks a dramatic day, just a Thursday. Middle of the week, middle of your routine, middle of the lie. Elise had another seminar. This one was in San Diego. Only one night, she said, stuffing that navy blue suitcase I bought her last Christmas. It's for the women's leadership retreat. I'll be home by noon tomorrow. Sure. Of course. I even helped zip it closed. Kissed her goodbye. Told her to kill it. Then I waited exactly 45 minutes and called the Hilton she was allegedly staying at. Sorry, sir, the woman at the desk said politely. We don't have a reservation under that name. Huh. I thanked her, hung up, and sat in the quiet. Now, I'm not a private investigator. I don't wear sunglasses indoors or follow people in black sedans. But I've got instincts. And, more importantly, I've got access. See, I handle the finances in our household. She never liked budgeting. Always said Excel was soul-sucking. So I pulled up our bank statements, scrolled through recent charges, and there it was, like a slap in the face wrapped in a receipt. Hotel Van Cleve. Not San Diego. Not even close. It was 20 minutes from our house. She wasn't away. She was nearby. Close enough to hear my heart break, if she bothered to listen. Now, I didn't go to the hotel. That would have been the old me. The version that reacted with emotion. But this version? He takes notes. Instead, I opened her iPad, synced to her iCloud. I know. She should have logged out. But hubris is a funny thing. Cheaters rarely cover their tracks when they think you're still asleep. In her messages, I found the thread. Contact name, Jam. A few emojis. A lot of heart reacts. The kind of text that drip with late-night sweat and private jokes. But it was one line that did it. Can't wait to have you all to myself again, Fox. That husband of yours still think you're at a seminar. Fox. That spirit animal of hers. I used to think it meant clever. Now I knew it meant cunning. I sat there staring at the screen, not angry, not broken, not even surprised. Just confirmed. I walked into the bathroom and looked in the mirror. Same face. Same jaw. Same man. But something was different behind the eyes. And I whispered to the reflection. She has no idea who she just betrayed. The next morning, Elise came home with a caramel latte, a fake yawn, and zero shame. Hotel pillows are terrible, she said, kissing my cheek. I barely slept. I nodded, took the latte, and sipped slowly. You smell like sandalwood. She blinked. Oh, yeah, hotel shampoo. Fancy stuff. She lied so easily. Like it was muscle memory. We sat at the kitchen island. She scrolled through her phone. I read the paper. We looked exactly like a married couple should. But I had already started the audit. By noon, I had a burner phone, a backup Gmail account, and a private Dropbox folder filling up fast. Every message she'd ever sent from her iPad? Archived. Every hotel charge in the past 6 months? Cross-referenced. A spreadsheet with timestamps, GPS data, and a few select voice memos recorded when I accidentally left my phone on during her phone calls. You'd be amazed what you can collect when someone thinks you're not paying attention. I wasn't just documenting an affair. I was building a case. Something clean, sharp, lethal in court, and even deadlier outside of it. Because Elise hadn't just broken vows, she'd underestimated the man she married. That evening, she brought up vacation. I was thinking Mexico, she said, curled up on the couch, flipping through resorts on her iPad. We need a reset. A reset. That word hit different. I gave a half smile. Mexico sounds perfect. Let me take care of the planning. Really? She lit up. You never plan trips. I shrugged. Trying something new. She leaned over, kissed my neck. I like this new you. And she would. Right up until I returned the favor. Over the next few days, I played the part, loving husband, slightly tired from work, eager to travel, totally clueless. Meanwhile, behind the curtain, I turned into something else entirely. A man with a mission. A chess player 6 moves deep. I hired a tech guy. Not one of those shady hackers in a hoodie, but an actual forensic consultant who specialized in discrete digital footprint recovery. When he scrolled through the data I gave him, he whistled. Man, you don't just want to catch her. You want to bury her. I didn't flinch. I want the truth. And then I want her to choke on it. He grinned. Respect. The hotel guy came next. A bellhop with a gambling problem and a willingness to accidentally email me footage from the Van Cleve security system. Password protected, of course. I paid in cash. Watching that footage was surreal. There she was, my wife, walking into the hotel in jeans and a black coat. An hour later, leaving the room in a dress I'd never seen before. Her smile wasn't casual. It was practiced. The kind of smile you give someone who isn't your husband, but wants to pretend like they could be. Her mystery man followed 5 steps behind. Tall, athletic, sunglasses indoors. He looked like a fitness coach who gave motivational speeches on Instagram. They held hands. I paused the video, zoomed in. Not to study him, to study her. She looked happy. That's what got me. Not the betrayal. Not the lies. The joy. That open, honest joy she used to have with me, now aimed at someone else. Someone who didn't know she faked that exact look when she wanted something. On Thursday night, I invited her out for dinner. Just the 2 of us, I said. Somewhere new. She lit up like a Pinterest board. I'll wear that green dress you like. Perfect. I made the reservation at a place downtown, quiet, upscale, candlelight ambience. The kind of spot you pick when you're about to propose. Or detonate. She was glowing across from me, laughing too easily, sipping red wine like nothing in the world could touch her. You've really been different lately, she said, fork halfway to her mouth. Like, present. Guess I realized what I stood to lose. She blushed, touched my hand. I've missed this version of you. I smiled, looked her in the eyes, and asked, Does Jam know you're married? It was like flipping a light switch in a haunted house. The color drained from her face so fast I thought she might faint. What? Who? She stammered. I leaned in slightly. You know, the guy from the Van Cleef. 6'2". Drives a Tesla. You call him Fox Hunter. He calls you his favorite distraction. She blinked. Her lip trembled. You went through my things? No. You left them open. Silence fell like a curtain. Thick. Unyielding. Finally, she whispered, How long have you known? Long enough to stop being angry. She flinched. What does that mean? It means I've moved on to strategy. We didn't argue that night. That would have been too easy. She said she was sorry. That she never meant to hurt me. That she felt lost and stupid and small. I just nodded. Because I wasn't looking for her apology. I was looking for her fear. And I finally saw it in her eyes. She went to bed early. I stayed up late, polishing the last details of what came next. Revenge isn't about rage. It's about timing. And tomorrow, the curtain rises. The next morning, Elise made pancakes. She never made pancakes. Thought we could have a nice breakfast, she said, flipping one with suspicious optimism. Start fresh. Fresh. Like betrayal was expired milk we could just throw out and replace. I sat at the table, watching syrup drip down the side of the stack. Her smile was too wide. Her voice a little too high. She was trying. I'll give her that. But not for forgiveness, for control. She thought I was unpredictable now. Dangerous, even. A man who knew too much and hadn't told her what he planned to do with it. Good. Let her wonder. Let her rehearse every lie she'd ever told and worry which ones I had proof of. I took a bite of pancake, nodded. These are good. She exhaled with relief, like my compliment was a Band-Aid on a bullet wound. Then I added. They taste like closure. That afternoon, I visited a lawyer. Downtown office. Nice view. The kind of place where reputations are protected and knives are hidden in briefcases. Her name was Cynthia Clark, divorce specialist, no nonsense, sharp as obsidian. I laid out the situation with clinical calm, affair, financial deceit, potential cohabitation lies. She barely blinked. You documented everything? Down to the Wi-Fi router logs. Her eyebrows raised, just slightly. You're going to bury her. I'm going to walk away clean. No mud on my shoes, no blood on my hands. She nodded, sliding over a thick file. Then let's talk terms. We mapped it all out. Assets, accounts, house equity, even the Roth IRA she forgot I knew existed. I was ahead of her at every turn. She'd wanted the thrill of secrecy, and I gave it to her, while building my own. By the time I left Cynthia's office, I wasn't just prepared, I was untouchable. I had every document I needed. Every password, printout, and timestamp. I wasn't just leaving Elise. I was leaving with the last word. The next step was quieter. I pulled my name off joint accounts. Froze my credit. Rerouted mail to a P.O. box. I wasn't disappearing. I was decluttering. Emotionally, financially, logistically. I even made a point to compliment Elise more than usual that week. You look great in that dress. Dinner was amazing. Have I told you how lucky I am lately? Every compliment landed like a ticking clock she couldn't hear. She started being overly nice in return, making plans, cleaning more, reaching for my hand during movies, trying to restake her claim. She was so focused on winning me back, she never noticed I'd already left. Friday night, I asked her to come with me to a small dinner party. Old college friends, I said. Low-key. Just couples. She hesitated, probably checking with her fox, but nodded. Sure. Sounds fun. We dressed up. She wore the green dress again, the one I used to love. I almost admired her for it. Like a thief returning to the scene in broad daylight. The dinner wasn't real, of course. I had no college friends in town. Instead, I drove her to a rented office space, neutral, polished, quiet. When we arrived, she looked confused. This isn't. I held the door open. Just come in. Inside, two people were waiting, Cynthia and a notary. On the table sat a neat folder with her name on the tab. Logan. Her voice wavered. What is this? This is everything. I sat. She stayed standing, arms crossed like she could block the wind with posture. Cynthia spoke calmly. This agreement waives your claim to spousal support, splits shared assets proportionally, and preserves your stake in the townhouse, as long as you sign within the next 48 hours. Elise blinked. Wait. What? You're divorcing me? I met her eyes. I already did. This is just paperwork. She glanced from me to the notary, then to Cynthia. You can't be serious. We just had pancakes. I know, I said. And they were decent. Her mouth opened. Closed. You're really doing this? You made your choice, Elise. I'm just filing the consequences. I thought you wanted to work on things. No, you wanted that. I wanted clarity. And now I have it. Her face twisted, not sad, not shocked. Just exposed. She looked like someone who just realized the magician's been palming the card the whole time. Then she narrowed her eyes. You planned all this. I didn't answer. Because that was obvious. You're punishing me. No, I said calmly. I'm removing myself from a story I didn't write. She didn't sign that night. She walked out in silence, heels clicking like gunshots in the empty hallway. But she'd sign. She had to. She'd lied too much to fight clean. And I had too much truth to lose. That weekend, I moved into a small apartment above a bookstore. Nothing fancy, just quiet, clean, mine. I left a single note behind in the townhouse, taped to the mirror. You were right, Elise. You are a fox. But I'm not the henhouse. I'm the hunter. 2 days after the paperwork, Elise showed up at my new place. No call. No text. Just a knock. And there she was, wearing the same perfume she used to spray on her wrist before date nights. Can we talk? She asked. I stepped aside. Let her in. Let her speak. She walked around the apartment like she was inspecting a crime scene. This is where you've been? It's peaceful, I said, pouring coffee I had no intention of sharing. She sat on the edge of the couch. I signed it. All of it. But, is this really what you want? Elise, I said, you signed a divorce agreement. That's not a question of what I want anymore. That's a confirmation of what I already decided. She tried the tears next. Said she was confused. Lonely. That she'd never actually left me in her heart. But here's the thing about betrayal, it doesn't need physical distance. It just needs a door to close quietly behind you while someone else waits on the other side. I think you're just scared, I said, voice steady. Scared that you finally lost something you assumed you'd always get back. And then I said something I knew would end it, finally. I don't miss you. I miss the version of you that didn't exist. She left 10 minutes later. No tears. No anger. Just silence. The kind you hear right after a bomb goes off. The rumor mill started churning fast. Apparently, Elise told her coworkers I'd had a midlife crisis and abandoned her. She didn't mention the affair, or the man in the Tesla, or the paper trail I handed to her attorney. Classic deflection. But truth has a habit of leaking. See, I didn't just divorce her. I mailed copies of her messages and photos to JM's wife, with a note. He's not just your problem. 2 weeks later, Elise called me in a panic. Did you send anything to Jamie? She asked, voice tight, scared. Of course I did, I replied. Thought he deserved a fair shot at honesty. Something you never gave me. She hung up without another word. Later that night, I got a message from an unknown number. One line. You win, man. Guess James finally learned Elise's middle name. In her exit strategy. I kept my head down after that. Read more. Ran more. Learned how to cook better than Elise ever could. There's something oddly liberating about reclaiming space that used to feel haunted. I started volunteering on weekends, mentoring teens at the community center. Taught them what not to be. How to be better men. Stronger. quieter in their strength. I didn't talk about Elise. Not directly. But when one of the kids asked why I wore a ring on a chain around my neck, I said, "That's not a ring. That's a warning label." They laughed. I smiled. The healing wasn't loud. It was quiet, like snowfall over a burned house. And by spring, I didn't even notice the ashes. About 6 months later, I got a letter. Handwritten. No return address. Just one word on the envelope. Logan. Inside. I know I don't deserve your time or your attention, but I wanted you to know that I'm sorry. Not just for what I did, for who I became. I lost myself. And you deserved better. You always did. If you ever want to talk, ever want to yell, or scream, or ask why, I'll listen. I don't expect forgiveness. Just understanding. I hope you're happy. I hope she's worth it, whoever she is. B. I folded the letter neatly and tucked it in my drawer. Not out of sentiment. Just as a relic. A fossil of who I used to be. And no, I never wrote back. Because some ghosts are best left talking to themselves. Here's the thing about revenge. People think it's a knife. But real revenge? It's a mirror. You don't attack. You reflect. You let them live long enough to face themselves in rooms they can't decorate or escape. Elise lost more than a marriage. She lost the illusion of being admired. She lost the pedestal she built out of lies and Instagram captions. Word got around. People started asking questions. Jam transferred offices. Elise moved into a condo she couldn't afford. And the fox? She stopped posting entirely. Me? I never had to raise my voice. Never had to get even. I just left. Clean. Quiet. Unforgettable.